When people think of Japanese ghost legends, they often picture one image immediately: a pale woman in white with long black hair hanging over her face, drifting silently through the darkness. That image didn't come from nowhere. It comes from a very old Japanese idea of the dead known as the yurei, a spirit that cannot move on because something still binds it to the world of the living. If you're enjoying these legends, please like and subscribe to see more. Let's get started. It is a world of shadows, secrets, and spirits that refuse to sleep. So, let's go. In Japanese folklore, a ghost is rarely just a random haunting. A ghost usually has a reason to remain. It may be grief, it may be betrayal, it may be love so strong that death does not end it, or it may be rage so powerful that the spirit refuses peace. One of the most important ghost types in Japan is the onryo, the vengeful spirit. These are ghosts born from injustice. Unlike more passive apparitions, the onryo does not merely appear, it punishes. The spirit comes back because something horrible happened in life, and death did not resolve it. The onryo is one of the deepest roots of Japanese horror, and you can still feel its influence in modern films like Ringu and Ju-on. The terrifying power of the onryo is not just that it is dead, it is that it remembers. It carries the emotional force of betrayal straight into the afterlife. If you want one of the most famous examples of an onryo, you have to begin with Oiwa, the ghost from Yotsuya Kaidan, often considered Japan's most famous ghost story. Oiwa's tale was popularized in the 19th century kabuki play Tokaido Yotsuya Kaidan, and it became so influential that it shaped Japanese ghost imagery for generations. In the story, Oiwa is betrayed by her husband, poisoned, horribly disfigured, and driven into a death bound up with rage and sorrow. Afterward, her spirit returns to torment him. What makes Oiwa so powerful in Japanese culture is not just the revenge itself, it is the cruelty behind it. Domestic betrayal, physical ruin, and the destruction of trust within marriage. Oiwa became an enduring symbol of the wronged woman whose suffering transforms into supernatural vengeance. Even today, productions of Yotsuya Kaidan are surrounded by superstition, and Oiwa remains one of the great icons of Japanese ghost tradition. Another towering ghost legend is Okiku, from the story commonly known as Bancho Sarayashiki, or the Dish Mansion at Bancho. In the best-known version, Okiku is a servant falsely accused of losing or breaking one of a valuable set of dishes. She is abused, killed, and thrown into a well. After death, her ghost rises from the well night after night, counting the plates, 1, 2, 3, and when she reaches the missing number, she erupts into grief or a scream. This story is chilling because of its repetition. Okiku's haunting is not only revenge, it is trauma replaying forever. The counting itself becomes horrifying because it turns memory into a ritual. The well, meanwhile, becomes one of the most powerful haunted spaces in Japanese storytelling. Deep, dark, wet, isolated, and almost like an entrance between worlds. Alongside Oiwa, Okiku is one of the most famous female ghosts in Japan. Then there is Otsuyu, the ghost associated with Botan Doro, or the Peony Lantern. This story is especially important because it shows that Japanese ghost legends are not always about rage alone. They can also be about longing. In the tale, a man falls in love with a beautiful woman, only to discover too late that she is dead, and that he has been visited by a ghost. In many versions, Otsuyu returns night after night, accompanied by a servant carrying a peony lantern until love itself becomes fatal. What makes Botan Doro so memorable is that it is both romantic and terrifying. The dead do not just come back to punish. Sometimes they come back because they cannot let go, and the living may be unable to resist following them into death. Oiwa, Okiku, and Otsuyu are often grouped together as three of Japan's great ghost figures, each representing a different emotional current: vengeance, suffering, and fatal attachment. Beyond these classical kaidan, there is the broader figure of the yurei itself. Traditional yurei are often described wearing white burial robes, with long, loose hair, and frequently with no visible feet. That image became standardized through Edo period theater and art, especially kabuki and ukiyo-e prints. The reason it matters is that Japanese ghosts are often visually recognizable before they even act. Their look tells you they do not belong to the world of the living. Their white clothing connects them to funerary customs. Their loose hair suggests disorder and death. Their missing feet make them seem to hover, untethered from the earth. This visual language is one reason Japanese ghost imagery became so globally influential. Another important legend is the ubum, the ghost of a woman who died in childbirth or while pregnant. The ubum is tragic rather than purely malicious. She is often described as appearing at night, carrying a baby, or trying to hand a child to a passerby. In some stories, the baby becomes impossibly heavy in the arms of the person who receives it. In others, the ubum is seen wandering in a desperate maternal state, unable to rest because of unfinished love and duty toward her child. The ubum reveals something central in Japanese ghost tradition. Many ghosts are frightening not because they are monsters, but because their pain is so human. Childbirth, death, helplessness, maternal grief, these are not abstract fears. They are intimate ones. That is why the ubum lingers so strongly in folklore. Moving from older folklore into modern urban legend, one of the most famous is Kuchisake Onna, the slit-mouthed woman. She is often described as a woman wearing a surgical mask, which makes the legend especially unsettling in Japan, where masks are common and ordinary. She approaches someone and asks, "Am I beautiful?" If the answer is yes, she may remove her mask and reveal that her mouth has been grotesquely slit from ear to ear. Then she asks again. The logic of the story is trap-like. No answer seems safe. In some variations, she attacks with scissors. In others, people try to escape by confusing or distracting her. What makes Kuchisake Onna so effective is that she merges old ghostly vengeance with modern urban anxiety. She belongs to the street, to the school route, to the ordinary spaces people move through every day. She is not locked in a ruined mansion or a legendary battlefield. She can be waiting around any corner. Then there is Teke Teke, another modern Japanese urban ghost. She is usually said to be the spirit of a girl or woman cut in half, often by a train. Because she has no lower body, she moves by dragging herself on her hands or elbows, making a repetitive scraping sound, teke teke, or in some versions, shaka shaka. Like many urban legends, the details vary by region and retelling, but the emotional core is consistent: sudden violent death, an unnatural body, and relentless pursuit. Teke Teke reflects a more modern fearscape than the old kaiden tales. This is not the slow haunting of a lantern-lit Edo mansion. It is the terror of industrial modernity, train tracks, speed, mutilation, and the urban night. One of the best-known school ghost stories is Hanako-san, often called Toire no Hanako-san, Hanako of the toilet. According to the legend, she haunts school bathrooms, usually the third stall in the girls' restroom. Children dare one another to knock, call her name, and see if she answers. This legend has endless variations, which is exactly why it spread so widely. Hanako-san is less about one official story than about the ritual of summoning. She turns a school bathroom, a private, echoing, vulnerable space, into a site of childhood fear. Japanese ghost culture is full of famous adult tragedies, but Hanako-san shows how the ghost story also lives in childhood. Japanese ghost stories are rarely only about being startled. They are usually about an emotional condition that has become supernatural. Oiwa is betrayal made immortal. Okiku is abuse and injustice replayed forever. Otsuyu is love that crosses the border of death. The ubum is maternal grief that cannot rest. Kuchisake Onna turns beauty and disfigurement into horror. Teke Teke transforms sudden violent death into pursuit. Hanako-san turns childhood anxiety into a ritual haunting. Even when the stories are frightening, they are also deeply psychological. The ghost is almost never random. It is the shape that unresolved pain takes when it refuses to disappear. And that is why Japanese ghost legends have lasted so long and traveled so far. They are not just monster stories. They are stories about memory, sorrow, injustice, longing, and the idea that the dead may remain near when something has gone terribly wrong. In Japan's ghost traditions, the spirit world is not separate from human emotion. It is built from it. And that is what makes these legends so haunting. Because the scariest thing is not simply that the ghost appears, it is understanding why it never left.